Stay tuned and let's take a look at this Marvel Legends X-Men 60th anniversary free pack with Storm, Jubilee and Forge. Ciao and welcome back to the channel, Dan Who Reviews. As always, my name is Dan W. Make sure you are following me on Instagram at It's Dan Who. And remember now you can hit that join button and either show some love or join the members club. Much appreciated. Today we are back at it with this Marvel Legends X-Men 60th anniversary free pack with Storm, Jubilee and Forge. Now this is of course to recreate that iconic Uncanny X-Men 275 front cover where the X-Men are in their matching uniforms just before they start their cosmic adventure. Now we do already have Wolverine in his uniform ready to go, who came out as part of the retro wave at the end of last year to accompany these very nicely, but there is another free pack on the way with Banshee, Gambit and Psylocke. For some reason this was the first free pack to arrive on the shores of Canada. There are already some reviews on YouTube, but I got mine special thanks to the super producer himself, Rich M, aka Displayed Once. If you didn't know, his favourite X-Men character and Marvel character in general is Tide, Jubilee and Monet. He couldn't get hold of Monet just yet, but he did get this Jubilee free pack and send it my way for review, and I am excited to check this out as the first Marvel Legend review of 2023. I do think this team will look great on the shelf, all displayed together with the new pinless bodies, all the matching uniforms. I'm excited, but not excited about the plastic free packaging. It is what it is at this point, but in the blue you do see the Uncanny X-Men 275 cover in the background there with the digital renders up front. You've got the 60 years of X-Men there at the top. I'm assuming we'll get some more figures to celebrate that as well before the year is out. On the back, some more digital renders as well as all the accessories that the figures come with. So I will do some comparisons of course, but without further ado, let's get it open. And here we have all three out of the packaging, all of their accessories on the table. I am happy to report that they all come with at least an interchangeable set of hands and something to demonstrate their abilities in some way. Storm comes with the lightning effect hands, which are really nice. Forge comes with one of his big guns, even though it is reused. And Jubilee comes with these effect pieces. Now we have seen these a million times. Honestly, not the best representation of Jubilee's ability, but they make up for that with an interchangeable head with the bubblegum effect as well. She also comes with the glasses. So you do have some posing options amongst the three, but let me just move the accessories out the way because I just want to know like how good do these look together on a display. All the blues match, all the yellows match, and Jubilee and Storm are on different bodies, so like the height difference is there, which definitely works with a team on a shelf. So if they all stand for me, you can see that Storm stands a little bit taller than Jubilee, as she should. Let me bring in Wolverine as well, and look at that. They would all be completely pinless if it wasn't for that damn one pin on Forge's leg. I see you. Other than that, they would be completely uniform, completely pinless, and I am teasing, honestly. I'm not really bothered about that one pin on Forge's knee. It just makes me laugh. But look at that, matching uniforms. They all look great. The only subtle difference I can see is that Wolverine's bout is actually like sculpted. That X is sculpted, where the rest of these are just painted flat on the bout piece. Again, small detail, not something that bothers me, but something I noticed. But otherwise, they all look great. They all look matching. And of course, we've still got Gambit, Banshee and Psylocke to go. And yeah, start making some room on the shelf. These are going to look great. But let's look at these individually and compare them to their counterparts. First up, taking a closer look at Forge, as they are using the same head sculpt that was on the previous version, but they have now upgraded it with a digital face printing tech. At least for me, you can see what I mean when I do a side by side. I just think the digital face printing tech gives a little bit more life to the flesh tones and the details. Previous version is fine if you like that, but I prefer the upgrade for myself. And then other than that, it is what you would expect. If I spin him to the side, you can see he's still got the red bandana, he's still got the ponytail. On the back, you've got the harness with the hole, but there is no hole on the Vulcan body. It's definitely the Vulcan body because if I move the harness, you can see the butterfly joint there, and then you've got the double jointed pinless elbows, hindered a tiny bit by the glove piece here, this new glove piece, but it's not a problem. You can still get some decent range there. You've got this flat belt with the X on, as I said, and then they cleverly hide the articulation in the sort of thigh holster and then the boot cut as well. So I like that, makes all the difference. And then I thought this robot sort of upper leg was reused from the previous Forge, but it's not. It's a new piece, but it's just got the pin for some reason. But remember, he's taller, so it did have to be a new piece. So yeah, definitely a new piece here. Just looks similar. It's a little bit more metallic looking as well than the previous version. I'll show you what I mean in a minute. He has a set of hands on the figure, which is an open grip and a trigger finger, so he can hold his gun. And of course, Forge is a tech whiz, so we are used to seeing him with like advanced weaponry. Now this has got to be reused from somewhere in the Marvel Legends line. There is a little bit of colour here with a couple of shades of metallic and a little bit of pink there as well to suggest some sort of power up, I guess. Maybe this is from like an old Hydra agent, I can't quite remember, but I don't like it too much. It's a little bit thick, a little bit hindering, and even with the added sort of butterfly joint, it's hard to get him in like a natural firing pose. If you want him standing there holding it, looking gangster, that's absolutely fine, but I'll probably swap that out. But if you don't want a gun at all, we do get a set of fisted hands for Forge, which I do appreciate for posing options. And if we have a look at Forge here, if I put the arms down into a more natural position, the only little bugbear I've got is that the harness pieces sort of make his arms stick out a little bit unnatural, if you will. So if you remove the harness, his arms will probably go in a little bit flatter, closer to the body. But again, the harness is a trademark for Forge, so I don't really want to remove it. So yeah, just a little bit unnaturally wide arms, but other than that, I like it. And here we have our Forge comparison. Now, as you can see, the heights are similar, but a little bit different, as the previous one was on the sort of Bucky Cat body, and it didn't quite hit the 6.5 inch mark, if you can see there, just under, where the new one is on the Vulcan body, and it does sort of hit the 6.5 inch mark. So a tiny difference in height. Other than that, the uniforms are similar, but obviously there are differences, as the new one is a much brighter yellow compared to the sort of orange, and the previous one had the cowboy boots with the tassels that always fell down. He's got the brown harness as well to match the harness piece over the shoulders. The new one has that harness piece, but he doesn't have the holster for the separate gun, and of course he doesn't have the cowboy boots as well. Both of them do have different guns, but that doesn't matter. You can swap them out all day long. I do appreciate how the new one though has the up and down hinge in the trigger finger hand, which is definitely better for posing. But yeah, each to your own. If I put them on the spinning base and let them spin around for a minute, you can see that the chrome on the new one is a little bit more metallic looking compared to the blue tint on the previous one, and they are different pieces as there's different sculpted detail in there. Of course the belt is different as well, similar gloves, but overall, once Forge is in this uniform, he genuinely doesn't change his look much at all. So either Forge would fit anywhere in different generations of your X-Men teams in your collection. But as always, let me know in the comments below, which Forge do you think is better? Next up, moving on to Rich's favourite, Jubilee, and just like Forge before, they are reusing the same Jubilee head sculpt on the previous Jim Lee release, but with a few differences. First, they've upgraded it with the digital face printing tech, makes all the difference. I do prefer the colour and tones, it's just more natural looking. And also now, the glasses are not glued onto the head. If I turn it to the side, just above the ear, you can see like a little slot in the hair where you will put the glasses in. So even with this head sculpt, you have two options, glasses on or glasses off, which I appreciate. And if we compare the glasses on look to the previous Jubilee head sculpt with the glasses, you can see what I mean. It's the same head sculpt, but the new digital face printing tech makes the difference. It is definitely an upgrade, at least in my opinion. And not forgetting, Jubilee also comes with an interchangeable head sculpt with the bubblegum effect piece. So in total, with the glasses on or off, it gives you 4 different looks for Jubilee, which, you know me, I appreciate options. And again, this has the digital face printing tech, looks very nice. So let me zoom out and we can check out this body. So a little bit unfortunate with articulation here, as first things first, you've got the single jointed elbow. Not great. I would definitely prefer double joints in 2023, but that's that. Also, you would think there's a little bit of range here at the sort of waist, sort of mid diaphragm here, but I can hardly move her at all. A little bit of swivel there, but no forward or back. It seems to be stuck, and because it's Rich's figure, I don't want to force it. But yeah, the belt sits a little bit high and definitely hindered here at the diaphragm joint. So yeah, not really a lot of forward or back. The legs though, your thigh cut isn't on the harness pieces like on the male figures. That's still a little bit higher here. And then down here, do we have the boot swivel? No, we don't. So the leg articulation is definitely different than the male figures, but we do have the double jointed pinless knees here here for Jubilee, which are very nice, no complaints there. She can kick her own ass. And then, of course, as I said, unfortunately, single jointed elbows. So yeah, this body isn't great, but I do appreciate that it's a little bit shorter than the other female body, as I like that accuracy amongst the team. So out of the box, she comes with like expressive hands that we've seen many times on the female figures, and then this effect piece, which again, we've seen many times, but now they have give us a bit of gradient color change here with a dark purple down to the pink. Again, not the best reputation of Jubilee's ability, but it's probably their best attempt so far in figure form. I do at least like that it's got two different colors on it. But if you don't want Jubilee with any power effects or any sort of expressive hands, you do get a pair of fists. She has a pair of fisted hands because Jubilee is not afraid of punching a sentinel in the face. And before we do a comparison, I just wanted to say you can tell that the arms are molded in a blue plastic, as the yellow paint here, you can sort of see the blue sort of coming through a little bit on the shoulder joint and here at the wrist. Honestly, on the shelf, on display, you won't even notice, but it is something you can tell when you're zoomed in like this. You can see it bleeding through on the joint. So just something I noticed. Here's our Jubilee comparison, and it seems that the previous one is just a smidge bit taller. You can see it's about 5 3/4 inches, definitely under 6 inches, and the new one is probably just over 5.5 inches, so tiny difference. And other than that, it's the same character but completely different costume designs, as obviously she's wearing her X-Men uniform compared to a sort of obviously classic sort of iconic look. But I'm curious, will the jacket go onto the new body but it won't have the yellow arms? Shall I try it anyway? There you go. For the one person that was curious, here we have the Jubilee jacket on this new body, and it fits on there, no problems at all. But obviously the sleeves are not yellow to match the jacket, but it still sort of works. But I don't think this is a look she has in the comics at all. So this will just be personal preference. But as I always say, options are not a bad thing. And finally, we have Storm. Now, she looks really nice again with the shorter haircut here. I do think it's a new head sculpt using the digital face printing tech. She's got the whited out eyes, the nice red lips, and then she's got the trademark sort of lightning bolt earrings as well that we see on the Storm figures. There's even sort of a wash in the hair, like a dark sort of grey wash to bring out the sculpted detail, which is really nice. And because we have so many Storm figures, I'm sure we're going to be able to try some head swaps as well. But before I do any head swaps, let's just take a closer look and do some comparisons. So first up, let's have the all-white Jim Lee era Storm that came on the retro card. Very nice. And then we have the sort of Outback era Mohawk Storm in the all black outfit. And then we have the giant size X-Men Storm, one of my favorite female Marvel Legends period. Really like that Storm. But all of them are great, and I'll try some head swaps in a minute. Before we do that, let's just take a look at the rest of this figure. So as we know, she is on the new pinless body. So you've got the double jointed pinless elbows, and the range here, let's see what we can get. So the gloves are a separate piece and it gives you a good range. So compare that to Jubilee, obviously much of a difference. So we really need double joints on every figure going forward. Like, it makes such a difference to the posing. So Jubilee can do that, Storm can do that, but hopefully we have is it Psylocke on this body as well. So at least she is going to be getting some good poses. The belt's a separate piece. Again, you've got the diaphragm joint there, and you do get more movement here than Jubilee did. Jubilee hardly moved, but Storm, you get a little bit of back, a little bit of forward. The belt, again, is separate piece, doesn't hinder anything. The thigh cut is there, even though it's not hidden within the design of the straps, but the thigh cut's there. You've got the double jointed, pinless knees. Can she kick her own ass? Of course she can, all day long. No boot swivel, just like Jubilee, but you do get ankle pivot and rocker. So again, you'll be able to get this in some very nice poses. For me, I like Storm on a flight stand. It always just looks so much better and intimidating on a shelf like so. And you do have posing options. So you get 2 fisted hands for Storm, but you also get 2 more expressive sort of open palm hands, which do work for a character like Storm, so not complaining there. I do wish that these joints here on the shoulder were blue rather than yellow. I just think they stand out a little bit more when they're yellow. Again, minor gripe. And of course, on all the figures, that neck sort of collar piece is a separate piece as well, but just minor detail. My favorite accessory for Storm now, however, is her lightning effect hands. So these are done really nicely. So you have the splayed out sort of hands, and then from the fingertips you have the translucent sort of blue lightning coming out, and the transition is really nice, and it just works so much better than like just sticking an effect piece on there. And of course you get both hands doing that, and yeah, just really nice. We've seen these a few times now with our Storm figures, and they really are the perfect accessory for her to sort of display her on the shelf with a little bit more life, a little bit more dynamic. And I love it when you can display a character demonstrating their abilities very accurately, and yeah, really like these. Here we have our Storm comparison, and of course there are a couple of other Marvel Legends Storms, but I do think this is a good representation, as all of these are completely different, unique outfits for Storm, and all of them are worthy of a spot in your collection. They're all unique hairstyles and head sculpts as well, so this is where I'm going to do some head swaps, but I did just want to see how all four of these look together, and they all look great. So let me know in the comments below, which Storm design do you prefer? My mind's eye will forever be the Jubilee Storm, but I do think my favourite out of all of these is the giant size X-Men Storm. But I am liking this Uncanny look for Storm too. First up, I've swapped the Mohican Storm head onto this Uncanny X-Men body. Now I'm sure it's not accurate by any means, but it is just fun to see these things. The skin tone on the neck is just a little bit of a different shade, but because it's only the neck that's on show, you can't really tell when it's on display. The head sculpt here, the shorter hair on this is just a little bit loose. Again, the skin tones don't match up perfectly, but I do think some blue tack in there to hold it in place, you could maybe get it to work. And it's more of the same with these two as well, where the head's a little bit loose here, skin tones don't match up, and same for this side. The head is a lot tighter though on this one, if you wanted to have a sort of long head Storm on this Uncanny X-Men body. And then last one, just because with the giant size X-Men, so the head is very tight on there. Obviously she's got the black sort of tiara on that one. If that was a yellow or blue tiara, it'd match more. And then the short hair does go on this body, but again, very, very loose. So you have options, but we have a lot of great Storm figures here to pick and choose from. And here we have them all back on the table. And of course there are other versions of Storm and other versions of Jubilee, but I can't be here doing head swaps all day. So let's just jump into a couple of comparisons and get out of here. So first up, we have the VHS X-Men figures, if you wanted to blur these into a display. And then here we have Gambit and Psylocke, who we are of course getting in the next free pack in these matching uniforms. And because this body actually has the double pinless arms, it will be one of the best articulated Psylockes we have. And of course these costumes were at the start of a cosmic adventure. So here we have a couple of scrolls, as we don't really have many Shi'ar characters just yet. Lilandra doesn't even have a body. Here we have the 20th Cap and the Renew Your Vows Spidey. And then for one more time before we get out of here, let's bring back Wolverine and see all the Uncanny X-Men matching uniforms together. And they do look great, as I said, all pinless. They've all got unique bodies, so they're all at a different scale. Looks much more accurate to how we see it on the comic page into plastic. Looks really nice. Definitely excited to complete this team. That front cover, maybe get some more cosmic Shi'ar characters as well to start creating some space on the display. But yeah, liking these a lot. And finally, here we have the Who crew with Frogman, Tigra and White Rabbit. And then for the first time in 2023, last but definitely not least, here we have Captain Britain and Hal Fire Hank. So, final thoughts on this Marvel Legends Uncanny X-Men free pack with Jubilee, Forge and Storm. Now, I've said enough at this point. You know I'm all in on this team. I think they're going to look great on the shelf together once we get that second set. And of course, I'll get these guys out again when we do and see how they all look together. But so far, so good. I just hope that Hasbro give us more characters from that whole Shi'ar X-Men sort of run, as there are plenty of characters we are yet to get in figure form. And we still need a body for Lilandra. So hopefully time will tell. But this free pack's very nice. Now remember, I got mine thanks to the super producer Rich M, aka Displayed Once. He loves Jubilee, so he imported his from Canada. That's where this set has started to show up. Not yet in the UK, but my predictions are end of February, early March, we get those 2 free packs in hand, and blobs on the way as well. So time will tell. But you let me know what you think of the Uncanny X-Men in the comments below. Has this review or seeing these online now in general convinced you that you are getting them, or are you still holding your horses in this year of price hikes? Always curious to hear your thoughts. Remember, there are no right or wrong answers, people, all right? Always curious to read it. And if you like Marvel Legends, then you're in the right place. Check out the videos tab, find the playlists, but most importantly, please hit that subscribe button. Hit all on the notification bell. Don't miss out on a video. And please become a channel member. Hit that join button. Either show some love or join the members club. Much appreciated. You can follow me on Instagram at It's Dan Who, and I'm on Twitter as well. Don't be shy. Tweet me at Dan Who Reviews. And until then, people, my name is Dan W. It's good to be back, and I'll see you on the next one.